We're focusing on your irons, and your answers indicate you have what we would call a classic hook. So a shot that starts straight or to the right of target and then curves too far to the left through the air. You've also told us that your preference would be to play with a draw. So it's still a shot that starts right and curves left, but it's much less so, and of course the ball finishes on target. The hook is caused by an in-to-out swing path. So the club head is moving to the right of target through impact, and a closed face. So the face is pointing to the left of the direction of the swing, and when you do that, you get the ball turning left through the air. So to change your hook to a draw, it's not a case of changing these two elements of your swing, it's a case of making them slightly more neutral. So we want slightly less in to out and slightly less closed. Luckily, there's one aspect of the downswing that will affect swing path and club face angle in the way that we want to, and that is the body turn towards the target. Firstly, we'll look at the swing path. I've got a stick on the ground that's parallel to the target line and set up just outside the toes of my right foot. Notice that from the top of the swing, if I bring the club down with my arms only and I don't turn the body towards the target at all, we're going to end up in a position where the club shaft is angled inwards and the club head, you could say, is very far behind me. Now from here, we can make an exaggerated in-to-out move very easily. On the other hand, if I'm bringing the club down from the top of the swing and I add some hip turn towards the target, the upper body follows, so do the arms and so does the club. So we get the shaft to go from very inside to more neutral. And neutral means the club can approach impact from slightly inside the target line and still move very slightly from in to out, but it will be much less exaggerated than if I had the club in this position. So the first move from the top is to make sure the body is turning towards the target, and that helps bring the club down into a more neutral delivery position. Secondly would be the club face. Now again, if I bring the club down and then release it without using the body, the hands have a very easy time of releasing the club early and closing the face into impact. This of course would cause the hook. On the other hand, as I start to release this club down at the ball, if I keep the hips turning towards the target, the hands have a harder job of closing the face, which effectively delays that closing and reduces the hook to the left. So putting these two things together, the hip turn towards the target is going to reduce the in-to-out swing path, and it's going to delay the closing of the face. As we said, both of the things we need to reduce the hook. So if we have a few practice swings, split it in two first, which means down to delivery and stop, making sure the hips are turning to the target, and that brings the club down more neutral. And secondly would be release the club, but keep turning the hips towards the target. So we've got turn the hips for a neutral delivery and keep them turning to stabilize the club face. Once you've felt these two moves, let's put them together and let the swing flow from beginning to end. Not at full speed, a little bit slower would be useful to begin with. And the main focus is that from the top, you instantly start turning the hips towards the target. And if that feels okay, let's hit a golf shot. The ball will tell you whether you've done it enough and the ball doesn't end up left of target, whether you've done it too much and you start missing to the right of target, or even though you feel you're doing it, the ball still goes left, and that means you need to do it more. So again, a little practice swing in between each shot. Fire the hips, and then let's see where that ball goes.